I've been very fortunate in that anytime I have taken a job, having read the script, whether it's a 30-second script or a 2-hour movie script, I have heard music in my head on the good ones. I mean, just immediately I knew what to do. And part of my job was to position and sell those ideas as subtle as they had to be and insidious as they had, backdoor them in or sometimes front door them in, depending on what the director wanted from me. And at times stick your neck out and say, because sometimes they don't give you any info and they're shopping for a composer and they go, well, what are your ideas? And what they want you to do is stick your neck out and tell them, because this might be a director that wants, like they want from a great actor, they want from a great composer. What are you going to give me, man? Not let me tell you what to do, but some people take that approach. And you stick your neck out and throw it out there, and you could lose the gig based on what you said, which could have been totally different if they had talked to you for 20 minutes, but that's not how they want to do it. So, or they'll talk to you for an hour, and then if you spit back what they said to you, not hire you because they really didn't mean that. They want, you don't really know what that creative process between people now, the collaborative creative process, can be a lot of things. Takes place in a lot of ways. Anyone who's done it knows that someone who's in charge can kind of screw you with you a little bit, or they can handhold, they can mentor you, or they can not mentor you to see how you respond, because ultimately it's a very tense process because it's time constrained and money constrained. So ultimately they might want to know, how do you work under pressure? How do you work this way? How do you do that? Are you going to stay up all night for me or not? And when you're working on these projects like films, you're lucky to get 2 or 3 hours sleep a night for a month, and you got to think 3 weeks into that, you still have to think clearly, and there's a lot of just dealing with that issue. So what I would say is on approaching it, that if you don't hear anything, then you try to have a conversation and see, well, are we talking here about a lush background? Are we talking about a small thing, an intimate thing? Read the character or read the script, and if it's a commercial, is the commercial going to look intimate? Even if it's a roll of toilet paper, are they going to shoot it intimately, or is it going to be part of a scene? That can direct whether it's a solo violin that is going to cover the main melodic idea, should there be one, or whether it's a string pad that's going to fill the space up. So kind of you get down to these and looking at the visuals, and in your own mind learning how to translate that into an emotion, and then how do you translate that into, how would you do that in a sound if you were writing an abstract piece? It's really no different once you learn how to break it down, and part of what makes you unique is how you break it down and what to you sounds intimate versus sounds broad, or sounds hip versus sounds not, and then people want you to bring that all to the table. And what I started with was how they sort of get at that. So it is a real dissection process. For me, blessed with a good mathematics mind, so for me it's like mathematics, breaking it down, often plotting it out, in milliseconds. I work straight in the computer and with paper, so I can, one can be a visual roadmap for me. One is the playground to do it in, and they often go back and forth between the two. I'm old enough to have had to done everything by hand in the old days, so I'm comfortable with that. So all that becomes part of that process of just doodling with things and seeing where it gets you. But I would say you've got to be, you will need to develop a strict working method that you may stray from, like any creative person, but you're going to need doors to open creatively to get where you need to get to even start the process. So mine is a pretty analytical one, in a certain sense an intellectual one, but I enjoy that.